regards to passengers. And as Jim Roach told us, be dawn before many of those passengers get off the planes. Now, obviously, what's happened in New York City and Washington is having far-reaching implications. We're going to back things up a little bit right now and let ABC's Lisa Sylvester show us how all this started.
Sheer terror and chaos as two American Airlines hijacked planes fly into the World Trade Center. A gaping hole speaks the unthinkable. An unimaginable number of people injured and killed.
We heard a big bang, and then we saw smoke coming out, and everybody started running out, and we saw the plane on the other side of the building, and there was smoke everywhere, and people are jumping out the windows.
Within the hour, one of the Twin Towers collapses on itself. Then a short while later, the other tower. The World Trade Center, where thousands of people worked, a landmark in the New York skyline, gone, as if a demolition crew came in and imploded the buildings.
What word? Seal. Yes.
President Bush was in Florida reading to a group of second graders at the time of the first attack. The president, in anguish, leaves to return to Washington, his security team on high alert.
And have ordered that the full resources of the federal government go to help the victims and their families, and to conduct a full-scale investigation to hunt down and to find those folks who committed this act.
But the madness is not over. Another hijacked commercial jet plane nosedives into the west wing of the Pentagon. Black smoke filters through the air. The roof caves in. As the injured receive care, the grim reality sinks in. This was a deliberate, carefully orchestrated terrorist assault. No one is certain where or when the next attack will come. The Capitol, White House, and other government buildings are evacuated. People are fearful of any planes flying overhead as this interview with reporters is hastily wrapped up.
I think it might be a good idea if we got out of this crowd situation.
It's hard not to compare this day to the day Pearl Harbor was bombed in World War II. The enemies of America have spoken in a loud voice. They now have the full attention and wrath of the United States. President Bush is convening a National Security Council meeting to discuss what the U.S. response is going to be. Lisa Sylvester, ABC News, Washington.
Well, it has been an unbelievable day in the United States. Still no numbers on the number of people who have been killed as a result of the terrorist actions today in Washington and in New York City at the World Trade Center. Of course, it has meant that planes that were supposed to land in the United States have been diverted to Canada, and this province has been quite busy all afternoon. In St. John's alone, 27 planes are on the ground and almost 6,000 passengers on board, and of course they will be processed probably not until late this evening. That's what officials are telling us. Now, Fred Hutton is at the airport in St. John's, and Fred is going to give us more information on what's happening there.
Well, Lynn, I've just heard in my earpiece as well through our control room that Premier Roger Grimes is getting set to make some sort of announcement. We'll be keeping a close eye on that. Earlier this afternoon, one passenger was taken off one of these flights on an ambulance taken to the Health Sciences Center. Just moments ago, another ambulance scooted across the tarmac here. I could not see which airline it went to. It's very difficult to see through a sea of airplanes out there. There's 27 jets on the ground right now. The new total we've been given is about 5,000. We're not quite sure the nature of that illness. One can only speculate that with so many people injured in the United States, perhaps even killed, the anxiety and stress associated with this may have caused some stress-related injuries. People sitting in a plane basically for the last 5 or 6 hours. And as we heard from Jim Roach just moments ago, it will be several more hours, perhaps even until dawn, before all these passengers can be processed. About 4:45 this afternoon, I arrived here at about 5:30. I got close enough to one of the jets behind me a Continental Airlines jet. I managed to scream out to a passenger who seemed to be getting a breath of air through the door, which was open. I said, "Are you all right?" He gave the thumbs up signal, but obviously anyone who's been stuck on a plane for longer than 3 or 4 hours would be pretty anxious to get off, especially in light of what's been happening in the United States. Now, to get a better perspective on what's been happening behind the scenes here in terms of the organization to handle the 5,000 people who are here, we're going to check in with NTV Cecil here, who's about a couple of hundred yards away from me here. Cecil?
Hello, Fred. I have with me Sergeant Bob Garland. There are several organizations involved with this emergency measures effort that has kicked in here in the province's capital this afternoon, and Sergeant Garland is here to speak with me about his organization's involvement. Sergeant Garland, my first question is, to what extent is the RNC involved in this mini crisis here at the airport?
Well, we're involved in all aspects. We're involved with the provincial ECC, with emergency measures. We're involved with the city and of St. John's and with their emergency plan, and of course we're involved with the St. John's Airport Authority here on the ground. So we fit into everybody's emergency plan, and of course we have activated our own policy and procedure with respect to how to deal with a situation like this.
Now, when you talk about your own policies, what's going on with the RNC here as far as security goes, and what is it that your members are actually doing?
Well, here on the ground, we are assisting the St. John's Airport Authority with these 27 flights. We were also involved this afternoon with the bomb threat at the Airport Plaza Hotel, as well as the bomb threat with respect to one of the aircrafts that landed here this afternoon. So we are involved physically with security on an as-needs basis for the Airport Authority and for the different flights themselves.
Now, I noticed a vehicle here for the tactics and rescue unit. I saw one member along the perimeter armed. To what extent are members of that unit involved?
Well, we have certain policies that dictate that certain things would come into play given certain situations, and we have basically activated that policy. And with respect to the specifics, of course, we wouldn't want to go there because we may negate some of the things that we are, of course, trying to do from a security point of view.
What are some of the other aspects that you're involved in as far as security checks on the plane? I saw the K9 unit. I believe the bomb unit is here. So what will the RNC's presence be on board the planes once the passengers get off? What will kick in then?
Well, it's a very difficult question to answer because we're really not sure how this is going to proceed at this point in time, and it will be based on the events as they unfold here. So we will respond as required given the circumstances that are provided to us.
How long could this operation last? Your members, how long have they been? How long can they expect to be here, I guess?
Well, we have 27 planes here at the St. John's International Airport, and we will be here as long as required by the Airport Authority.
Sergeant Garland, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The RNC Sergeant Bob Garland, Media Relations Officer with the police force, and back to Lynn and Tony in studio.
Thank you very much. That's NTV Cecil Hare reporting live from the St. John's Airport this evening. This has been an unbelievable day. So sad, very tragic for all the people and the families involved. It's hard not to extend your thoughts to them, and boy, oh boy, it's hard to really put this story into words. But
it is. But there are many Newfoundlanders, of course, who work and live in the United States. Many live in New York City, and I spoke with one of them, actually, Tina Madigan, who went to New York City just a few months ago with some great news. She's starring in Mamma Mia, which is a Broadway musical. It's the first time a Newfoundlander has ever starred on Broadway. She was very, very excited, but today, of course, she is not so excited. She's actually very afraid of what's going to happen to her over the next few hours, and I spoke with her just moments ago. Tina Madigan, you're now living in New York City, and it was supposed to be a happy time for you, but it's turned out to be a very tragic day. Can you tell me what you actually witnessed today?
Sounds really strange when you say, Tina Madigan, you're living in Manhattan. It's unbelievable what's happened to the city today. I literally saw one of the Twin Towers collapse in front of me, and I literally was a block from rehearsal at Mamma Mia, and if I hadn't have ran into the building, into rehearsal, I would have been covered in debris. I only live about 20 blocks from the Twin Towers, and the city's in a state of distress. I mean, this is a movie gone true.
And I understand that people living in that area have been asked, I guess, to stay home to gather supplies. What can you tell me about what the city is telling you to do, or what the American government is now telling you to do to keep yourself safe?